Okay, so you ready? Are you ready to start Western TV then?
Well, there's only one thing that I have to talk about with you. I mean, for the most part.
Yeah. All right,
Because,
then might as well get
I
started.
just when watching my usual shows, and of course, since we had the holiday break of all the major shows, and so, but the real meat and potatoes that we have to talk about here, people, is Legend of Korra, not only book 4 finale, but series finale.
Yeah.
There's so much we have to cover. Um, it's a lot of things. It was we had a lot of questionable calls in the story, and it was, so let's just dive right in.
Yeah.
Let's see. The first thing we probably should talk about is the. Let's see. I know. It was the first episode was after the last episode we reviewed was episode 6, the Battle of Zaofu,
Okay.
where friggin' Korra got Talk no Jutsu'd and then literally got her behind beat by Kuvira.
Yeah.
Now, episode 7 was when she finally returns to Republic City.
Right.
And, they had that whole rescue the prince thing.
Right. That was an okay episode. It was whatever.
Yeah, but it continued the funny adventures of Bolin and Varric.
Uh-huh.
And it showed us that Kuvira was starting to harvest spirit vines from the swamp.
Right.
Then you had the horrible episode 8 clip show.
Yeah.
Which really was only funny for the last part because it was all made up.
Yeah, I still love that phone call. That was the best part of that episode.
The 4-way phone call between all the villains.
Mm-hmm.
And then you had episode 9 was Beyond the Wilds when they try to, even after, is when Bolin and Varric get back to tell them about the vine weapon, and despite this, Fire Lord Izumi and Tenzin both refuse to endorse a offensive attack.
Right.
But then the Spirit Vines attack Jinora and a bunch of others, trapping them in the spirit world, forcing Korra to try and rescue them, but can only get to the spirit world to help them by entering with the help of Zahir.
Fucking here.
And, finally reconnects with Rava, even though this doesn't really connect her with her past lives. But, and then at the end of the episode, you have Bolin, Opal, and Lin Beifong go off to rescue the other Beifongs.
Mm-hmm.
And then episode 10 was the rescue of the Beifongs, which they were joined by the almighty and powerful Toph Beifong, the greatest earthbender ever.
Yeah.
The best earthbender that ever was. She is the best, was the best, and the best ever will be.
Right.
And that was a pretty good episode, with, you had, they're trying to test the weapon, and, you find out that Julie became loyal to Kuvira so she could sabotage the weapon and somehow find a way to, and then everyone gets rescued. You have a somewhat decent fight between, what was it?
Suyin and Kuvira. Yeah.
There you go, Suyin and Kuvira. And then you had, Toph save the day so they could escape. And then basically at the end saying, you know what? Yeah, I can't help you because, I'm leaving it to the next generation. Plus my back hurts. So, which was kind of disappointing because that was the last time we saw her, and I didn't like that because I wanted to see her some more.
I'm sure.
But then you had and now the last 3 episodes were definitely a sight to behold. You had Veras Gambit, episode 11, where they try to evacuate Republic City, and then while Asami and Varric try and build the flying mecha suits to help defend it. But then you find out that Kuvira arrives earlier and starts to destroy the city with her weapon, forcing them to surrender. But then, in order to stop the giant mech, they capture Batar Jr. and they threaten him to the point where he decides to try and convince her to stop the attack. But in the end, she ends up attacking them anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And then episode 12, Day of the Colossus, basically is, to pretty much sum up, it was Team Avatar versus the giant mech.
Yep. That was it.
Doing pretty much the main focus. You had some great moments like the paint bombs, the lava bending of the trying to do the giant metal electromagnetic pulse, which disabled all of the mecha suits except the giant one.
Mm-hmm.
And Hiroshi Sato redeeming himself by sacrificing himself to blow a hole in the mech.
Right.
And the oddly engaged couple of Varric and Julie. And then they get in. That's pretty much the end of that episode.
Yeah.
But the most controversial of them all, the finale, episode 13, The Last Stand. It was a bunch of really good fight scenes. And, they disabled the giant, and you had Korra versus Kuvira was good, and, everyone had a very good, served good part. And then shit got real when Kuvira tried to use the detached Spirit Vine weapon to destroy Korra, but then she bends this energy, and instead of using this opportunity to reconnect her to her past lives, they use this to create a new spirit portal.
Right.
Which was stupid.
Oh, yeah.
And then you find out, Kuvira was just, she had a bad childhood. That's why she's evil. And
yeah,
then
no shit.
after they talk a little bit, Kuvira decides to surrender. And then we have the Julie Varric wedding, where Wu, and this was something else I predicted in the podcast. Wu announced that they were going to turn the Earth Kingdom into a series of democratic Earth states.
Uh-huh.
And I called that. But the biggest thing that got everybody talking was the final moments when Korra and Asami decided to go on a vacation to the spirit world and basically declare that through hand holding and a blinded out kiss scene that they are lovers.
And a statement from the creators.
Yeah. But which got everybody talking.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So it's definitely going to. I would have liked for there to have been more Avatar animated series, but unfortunately, they're done.
Most likely, yeah, they're done.
Most likely, yeah. No, they're not. They're not going to again.
The major issue is that
Nickelodeon was being dicks to them.
Well, not just that, is the fact that if Bryke, which is Brian and Mike, I think their names are, if they wanted to make another Avatar series, they would have to do it with Nickelodeon because Nickelodeon owns the rights to the Avatar series, unfortunately.
For animated productions, the only thing they can still do without Nickelodeon is the comics.
Right. Which would be fine, but,
But I would like to see it animated. Some more animated work. But who knows what else they would... because there's still tons of stuff they can do, but they're going to cover it in the Last Airbender comics and eventually when they do the Legend of Korra comics.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, but yeah, Nickelodeon, they're assholes. They kept slashing the budget and they kept forcing like episode limits and everything. That they were horrible, horrible to them.
Oh, there's is one thing about the episodes that I did forget to mention. In episode 10, how Toph just casually said, "Oh yeah, Lynn's father was just some random guy that was never a character in the series. Who cares? No big deal, no big
We
whoop.
care.
We care." But she was like, "Oh, it's no big whoop. It was just some random guy named what was it?
I can't. I think it was Kanto, right?
Yeah, Kanto. It was pronounced Kanto, and people were like, "Oh my god, they made a Pokemon reference."
That means Suyen's father is Johto.
That's what everyone said.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was like pushed off to the side like it was nothing, which disappoints me. But whatever. I would have liked to see more, but in terms of animated stuff, there's no more Avatar.
Yeah.
You just have to look forward to for the comics, which it's not like they're like manga and come out every week.
Right.
So they come out every couple of months or so, depending on how they feel,
Mhm.
which is I don't like. So yeah, I think that's everything.
Well, I mean, let's talk about like book four as well. One, the finale of book four as a book four finale, and then the finale as
A
the
series
series
finale.
finale. Yeah.
Well, I
Uh,
mean, as a book four finale, it was kind of okay.
it was kind of okay. Yeah. Whatever.
It was only kind of okay. I mean, it might have been a little better if there was more content coming out, but the fact that there isn't anymore, it just diminishes it. I feel
Right.
because it definitely feels like something like an ending of one season and not an entire series. Ending
Yeah.
the entire series, which is why as a series finale, it sucks even worse.
Yeah. It's kind of flat in general.
It didn't resolve enough. It just plain old didn't resolve enough.
Yeah.
There's too much stuff left open, but they did that on purpose because Nickelodeon was being assholes to them, and they have comics to write.
Right.
So they figure we'll save all the good stuff for the comics.
Mhm.
So
Yeah. Really, like book one and book two, like the stories had like the most like ending potential, like the end of bending as we know it, or the 10,000 years of darkness. Like those
yeah, which
seem
is
like
kind of
ending stories.
yeah, but see the problem is that when you look at it, 3 and 4 only happened because of 2.
Right.
Because if book 2 didn't happen and you didn't have that whole harmonic convergence, Zahir would have never gotten airbending, and airbending it would not have escaped. And if Zahir never happened, the Earth Queen would have not been killed, and Kuvir would have never been put into power.
Right.
So they had no choice. If they wanted to do Kuvira and Zahir, they had to do harmonic convergence first
Right.
before them two.
Yeah, I know.
So I mean,
Yeah, I mean, Korra overall was okay. I mean, it was good, but
still not better than the original.
nah, Last Airbender was pretty stellar. This one was not bad. It was good. It just needed improvements. But unfortunately, I think the two of them had better plans for the series, but just couldn't do it because of Nickelodeon. So I give them a bit of a pass there.
Mm-hmm.
So
Uh,
yeah, guess that about covers it. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about The Walking Dead here. Um, I left off, I think, within the first couple episodes of the season, and so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna talk about the whole first half, I guess, as a whole, mostly focusing on the latter part of the half of the season. because I've covered the first half mostly. So, um, first thing I want to say is get the elephant out of the room, out of the way, which is um, the death scene at the very mid-season finale, which was Beth. I thought it was pretty bad, though there was some part of me that was like, okay, this is not so bad, but honestly, it didn't make a lot of sense to me why she did what she did because she seemed to be getting along better with Dawn by the end of that episode, and then all of a sudden she decides to stab her in a place where it seemed like she had a protective vest instead of stabbing her in the head or anything like that. Um, and that shot was very reflexive. She never meant to shoot Beth. It was very much like she got surprised and instinctively pulled the trigger, which killed her obviously because it shot her through the head, like the upper. Yeah, well, you guys know. Um, so honestly, that to me it didn't make a lot of sense. Beth's character started to grow a little bit, but it seemed like perhaps her character had come full circle. So whatever. It is sad though that she was never reunited with Maggie in the end, and Lauren Cohan pulled off that scene pretty well. Uh, Seeing her and just breaking down completely, I thought that was pretty good. And you know what? That episode as a whole was pretty good for the most part. Besides that, where especially like the elevator scene where Beth and Dawn work together to kill that one guy off who is just being an asshole. And yeah, I really did like that scene. And I guess on to more of that season. Some of the things I did not like were that Carol got captured. That was whatever. The episode with Daryl and Carol was pretty good because it was focusing on them, who are two of the best characters, honestly, in this show. Like Daryl being the best, and Carol being pretty close. Though honestly, I like Rick better. I do think Carol is up there in top five, definitely. Uh, that was a good episode because it focused on them and didn't really move the plot much, but it did show where Daryl was before he came back all of a sudden. Um, I didn't care for Noah that much. He was just kind of typical, even though he was fine in the beginning, like his introduction, which that episode was just okay, honestly, with Beth and hold on, the first episode. Uh, but then he just became retarded after he left the hospital. And uh, as far as the plot, it made sense. It flowed pretty well. Where there was kind of two stories going on, and they both converged until the final scene, which was in the mid-season finale. And we kind of leave off with Morgan as well, where he found the um, he found the Terminus People's School where they were staying, and I think he found Bob's foot or whatever. So yeah, like yeah, Bob died as well in this season, and I thought it was a pretty decent death, honestly, much better than Beth's. What else was there this season? There wasn't much else. There was a couple fight scenes. There was capturing some of the hospital dudes and Sasha being an idiot. That was stupid. I didn't care for that at all. I don't like Sasha. I really don't. She can die anytime, and it'll be cool with me. Um, oh yeah, and the mid-season finale start. All you had to do was stop. All you had to do was stop. And he shot him in the head. Oh, I love that. That was awesome. Rick is pretty awesome. He is my second favorite character after Daryl, who is everybody's favorite character by now. But whatever. So I mean, I guess that's it for this half of the season. I mean, it was only 8 episodes or whatever. I thought it was good. I did think it was a good half of the season. There was definitely a pretty big looming threat. Uh, Terminus definitely had the threat, and the hospital guys had their own kind of threat. And there were two deaths in the season so far. We're only halfway through the season, and there are two deaths. And so yeah, there was definitely a lot of intense like threats. A lot, especially in the Daryl Carroll episode. It felt like there was always a chance that one of them was going to die. Thankfully, neither of them did. I would have raged hard if one of them had died. Um, let's see. Yeah, in terms of pretty much everything else, I thought it was pretty much on point for Walking Dead's standards. So yeah, I look forward to the next half of the season, but I'm really not a fan of this go halfway through and then take a couple months break. Like honestly, that's more of like a dick tease to me. I don't like it. I wish they would just. I mean, if there's 16 episodes or 14 episodes, whatever, just film them all and don't maybe give us a month. Like give us a month break, maybe. But that's to me, it's just not right. There aren't that many seasons in. There are not many episodes in a season. Like even like Game of Thrones has so much that they have to cover, and they go their 10 episodes, all the way through. Like like Fate Stay Night, they did the same thing as Walking Dead, where they only went 12 episodes in and they stopped. Like why? Like we're not getting Fate Stay Night till April. What the hell? It's only 24 episodes. How hard can that be? I don't know, but um, yeah, that's my rant, my small rant in this. But yeah, so I look forward to the next season.